This is my path, my journey. I'm willing to explain it all to you guys. No holding back anything. I just hope you're ready for the experience, and I just hope you can handle it. What's going on? So, in this video, what I want to talk about is something that I really haven't, really talked about. And I guess to be honest, the reason why I haven't really talked about it, I don't know, I guess it's because I've been kind of embarrassed a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like really just don't mention it. And what I want to talk about is this. I don't read, right? And it's not that I don't read, because I can read. I can, and technically, I mean, I can read pretty well. I mean, realistically, like, it's not like I'm horrible at it. It's just I don't like what I noticed this very much when I was making this. I'm making a documentary right now on my experience that I had with capsulized ayahuasca. Now, it's just I noticed that doing research on this, right? I've had to do a lot of reading research and a lot of, and then I've also I've been trying to get things where I'm reading, just things. And what I've noticed is for a good probably 80% of the commentary, or the, I think that's what it's called, like when me just talking, at certain parts, 90% of that, 80 to 90% of that is like literally just me, winging it like I always do. I mean, that's just what I do. I don't ever fucking, I don't know. I tried writing shit down for one video, and that video turned out horrible. And the reason is this. I don't. Now, as a kid, I could read, I would do all this, but for some reason, I don't comprehend. I don't know what the fuck I'm reading when I'm reading it. Like while I'm reading what I'm reading, it's like I have no clue what I am saying. And like I noticed that just now. That's why I started making this video. I was literally getting ready to I was just going through some videos of me reading this just information about ayahuasca. It was just really some of the information was just off of Wikipedia and other places, and and then I'm gonna do some from other places, and probably do some from Arrowwood, and but it's just I noticed that I didn't remember, nor just I didn't get any of the information from reading it. None of it. None of it was stored in my head. None of it. It's almost like but I noticed that because I was watching the video that I was I was reading, and I was like, dude, this is some dope, that's dope. Like, I didn't even notice that what I was reading, like, it was talking about Dennis. It mentioned Dennis McKenna. And when I was reading it, I didn't even really notice that it mentioned Dennis McKenna. Like, I don't know, I said his name and I was reading it. It's like I didn't even notice I said his name. And it's just it's an interesting observation that I have. Now, there is slight exceptions to this. Like when I guess when I'm doing research on like molecules, or like I was doing research on Leonorine, and Leonorine is one of the hold on. Leonorine is one of the main molecules that's in wild daga, and it's the main active, compound in it. And I think that I don't know. It's just I can get the information from that for some reason. It's just I don't know. I guess it's like, when I'm researching a molecule, I'm just very into molecules. So when I'm researching a molecule, this is what I want to know. And sometimes when I feel like, if this is the only way I can get it, because sometimes when you're researching a molecule, there's only one way to get information. There's, college, websites now. All these different universities have websites, all these different things have like archives of all their research that they've done, and all their research papers are now stored on their website. It's like people don't realize that the internet is completely changed now, and it's completely just, there's universities that have websites that, where it's like, that argument where it's like, your knowledge, make sure you don't believe everything you read on the internet. And it's like, yeah, don't believe everything you read, but you got to go to the right sources. So when I need to go to those right sources, I do understand it. But I don't know. It's interesting. It just blew my mind. And I thought about it that I've never really read a book fully, like, ever. The only exception would be, I guess, one time I was locked. So as a kid, I was kind of a bad kid, and at 14 years old, I'm just bluntly honest, and it might blow your mind real quick if you don't know. But at 14 years old, I was such a bad kid, hanging with a bad crowd. I was 14, hanging out with 20-year-olds, just, thinking I was tough guy, thug, gangster, fucking whatever. Ended up doing an armed robbery, got sent away because I was only 14, so they couldn't put me in prison or jail. So I got sent away. I told them I did it because I was addicted to, weed and all these other things, whatever. The drugs, it was funny at this time, I've never even did weed, but it's just, I ended up going to placement. And while I was in placement, while I was there, I ended up reading a book called The Millionaires. I think it was called The Millionaires. And I think it was about, like, I don't even fucking remember what it was about. I think it was about brothers or something, maybe three guys or something that, like, end up becoming millionaires or something. But I find it interesting that this is, like, that was the only book I read in there. And then besides that, what I did was write because I was a rapper. I've been a rapper since I was 11, or, whenever I wrote rap music and, sung and just wrote music and rapped and wrote lyrics, and that's all I did. I had binders of fucking lyrics, being in there. But, like, I think that, it's crazy that I could write, but yeah, my spelling's probably horrible. But, with the internet now, the internet can help with that. Computers can fix that for you. But it's just, I don't know. Somebody like me is very glad that the internet exists, because if I was born in a time where we didn't have computers or we didn't have video, really, like, I'd fucking lose my mind. Or audio, at least. Like, audio's fine, video's great. I don't know. I'm just a very, I guess, realistically, like, a very, I don't know. It's just interesting that I've always had trouble reading, like, or learning that way. Like, I've always had trouble comprehending what I'm reading. It's almost like while I'm reading, the conscious mind that I have in my head that would usually be taking in information is actually too focused on reading the information and talking and getting it out and whatever. And it's almost like I can't separate the knowledge from, like, one part of my mind is talking. I couldn't take information. Like, right now, while I'm talking, if somebody was talking at the same time I was talking, I wouldn't have heard a word they were saying because I was saying what I was saying. And that's what it feels like. And that's why I don't read. And, and at this point, I don't give a fuck. At this point, I really don't care. I've accepted it, and I have coped with it. So many people, I don't know. I think we're taught in school that we have to learn this way, that everyone is this way. And I say bullshit. The box is not this small. The box is humongous, and we got to realize that not everyone can fit into the little box that they try to make us all fit in. And you have to find your own way, and you have to just do your thing, whatever your thing is. Whether you take in information from reading, from audio, from video, you need to do it the same way, though. You can't listen to audio, I don't know, like the way people read. I feel like we need to, if you're learning from video or audio, you need to apply the same things they do, the same things. Now really the only thing is just time. You just need to put the time into doing it. And the difference is, and I guess there's really no difference, because the only difference is that, I was gonna say, the only difference is that we have more distractions on the internet and shit, and that's bullshit. No, because there's a lot of fiction bullshit books that could waste your time and waste your life. Not necessarily they could be entertaining, but it's still just entertainment. It's no different than watching Jake Paul or Logan Paul just for entertainment. It's like, there's no difference. There's some books that, waste your time, and there are a lot of books with a lot of knowledge, just like there are a lot of videos with a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of audio out there with a lot of knowledge. Most of the, all the knowledge, because I haven't read, the only thing I can say that I read was The Millionaires, when I was in placement, and I kind of started skimming it, skimming some things out, started cheating, I guess. I skipped a chapter, and I completely lost what the fuck was going on in the story, but then kind of caught on, and whatever. But still, I think that, I don't know. I just think that is what is, and I think people need to know themselves. I know myself, so I know I don't read and I don't learn from reading, and I don't care what anyone says. There's so many people out there in the world that will say, you need to read. Well, I can come back and say, you need to watch 15 educational videos a day. I could say the same thing. It's and then there's people that are saying, you need to be vegan. You need to be spiritual. You need to, no, I don't need to do anything but be me. You need to be yourself. And you need to know yourself. Just know who you are. And I know who I am. And I used to be embarrassed about this. I used to not talk about it. I used to not even really try to think about it. Not even, acknowledge it. But I acknowledged it. And it made me think, fuck, I gotta make a video about that. Because I've never talked about it. And I think it's key to know our weaknesses as much as we know our strengths. And I think sometimes it is true. Some people say you should buckle down on your weaknesses. Others say you should buckle down on your strengths. I think it's always about a balance. I think you should know yourself enough to know that if you buckle down on something you're really garbage at, you'll never be really, you might get good at it, but you'll never be great at it. If it's not where your heart's at, if it's not what aligns with yourself, because reading doesn't align to myself. Yeah, like I said, I do read research papers, and for some reason I can get things like that, but it's when you have a fucking book like this big, it's almost intimidating, and it's I don't got time for that. We live in such a fast-paced world now, and so many people want the world to be the way it used to be, but reality check is pretty soon here. Reality is going to be absolutely insane. I'm going to make a video about that next, about just technology, the way the world's going to be going, because I'm going to start making videos about so many different topics, because they all touch it. They're all connected. Everything's connected to what is just going on, what is. And I don't know. And that's just what I, with the whole, I guess to keep on the topic of the fact that I don't read, it's that's okay. I don't read. So what? It's okay. And maybe the only books, the one thing that kind of also, I guess, irritated me, I guess, I don't know, lack of words to use, but irritated is kind of a good word. But I tried reading True Hallucinations by Terence McKenna. And I read about the first 20 pages, maybe the first 30. But like I said, I couldn't tell you anything I read. Nothing. I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you anything. Not even the gist of what the beginning story was about, what it was about. I couldn't tell you anything about it because it didn't. The next day I couldn't tell you, it's not I don't know, I just couldn't tell you. But yeah, right now, I could explain to you so many different topics that Terrence touched upon, and so many different of his ideas, his experiences that he's had with psychedelics and the mushroom, and what the mushroom told him, the way that he used to communicate with the mushroom, and time wave theory, and all these other things that he kind of tried to bring out of the psychedelic experience. Like I can, his explorations in the Amazon, and all these things, La Chorrera, all just, I could explain so many things about Terrence, and it's like, but yet, if he would have never, and I thank him heavily, because if he would have never had video, I would have never been able to learn from him. And that's just the way it is. It's like, if he wouldn't have had video, audio, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what I know now, honestly. Like, listening to Terrence McKenna was a pivotal moment in my life. It was a complete life-changing moment. Because that's how I got into doing, these things. So it's like, when that's the way you got in, it becomes a very deep ride the whole way through. Because, most people get in partying. Get in like, yo, I was just trying to have fun. I was at this rave. I went to this party. I've never had experiences with those sacred molecules in those contexts, in that context, in that setting. Never. It's always been with an intention to learn. And it's like, that's how I learn, though. Like I said, I understand that I can't read. But like the shamans say, you went to college, we went to ayahuasca. Now, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. People go to college, people read. I take substances and get downloaded with information from them by paying attention to the experience and flowing with it and being with it and talking with it, asking questions, experiencing, and just, man, I don't know. I'm a deep diver in another way. Books can give you knowledge, but there are many things that can give you knowledge. It's not just books. If you're just limiting yourself to books, then you're living in the Stone Age. There are many ways. Don't just limit yourself. And don't just put out, consume. Don't be scared to consume knowledge. I mean, the internet is filled with knowledge. The internet is filled with garbage, but you have to have self-control. And, just like you could read, bullshit books all day, or you can read some actual real books that have real knowledge in it, and it's like, you could waste your time watching bullshit books, and all you did was, read an entertaining thing for 2-3 hours, or you could have did something productive for 2-3 hours, or maybe you could have watched, 2-3 hours worth of videos and got so much knowledge, and don't just watch documentaries. Like, that's the thing that, when people be like, yeah, I watch videos, I watch this documentary and that documentary and this documentary, it's like, don't just watch documentaries, because I've seen all those documentaries too, but what I like to look for is people, real people that have YouTube channels that talk about similar things that I talk about, but they have different perspectives, which helps me learn more about my experiences and helps me look at life in a different way, helps me grow up faster, because you can watch somebody's videos when they started YouTube 8 years ago till now, and you can see 8 years of growth and what that was like, and you can see that in about a condensed time of maybe 1 year or less than a year, 6 months, 4 months, whatever how long it takes you to watch their videos. But it's like, man, the things you can do now, the knowledge that is accessible to us, and it's not just YouTube. I say YouTube because that's the one most people know about, but realistically, Minds.com, realistically, Steemit and DTube, realistically, BitChute, there's, realistically, I mean, even the fucking, I don't know, there's so many things on the internet. And if you go deep in the internet, fucking deep web has everything you can fucking imagine. All the information you can ever fucking imagine is everywhere, somewhere in the internet. And, I don't know, I think that we just need to, just accept that change is And it's okay if you don't, if you can't read. It's okay if you can't write. It's okay if you can't, some people can't hear. Some people can't see. Some people can't walk. Some people just can't do what you do, but they still find a way to do what they do. So, do what you do best. And, yeah. Peace out, guys.